This is Stella, Mozart, and Luna, my babies. Ciao. Ciao. Almost 18 months, 18 and a half years old, and 7 years old, yeah. See? My name is Lani Salvatore. I am a homeschooling vegan mom of 2, or 3 if we count the dog, which he always counts. And I became vegan in 2013. January about 2013. Yeah, and the why is pretty much I started questioning where our food was coming from. I was fed the myths of the happy dairy cows, and things like that. I think that that led me to watch a video about how basically chicken was made and what they did with the male chicks, and they just threw them into the grinder alive. And I remember, I'm not a very emotional person, but tears were just squirting out of my eyes. And I said, I'm like, what am I going to do about this? So what can you do about it? And what you can do is basically change your lifestyle. So that's what I did. I became vegetarian for a year and then vegan a year later, because you find out that the dairy industry is way worse than the meat industry. And yeah, and here we are.
Okay, so you did it purely for ethical reasons.
Yeah, purely for ethical reasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. And did you discover any other reasons?
I mean, obviously, once you start researching things, I think there's a lot of rabbit holes you can go down, and then I think being vegan has led me to be, to so many things or whatever. And I think even being a crunchy mom now, we would call crunchy mom or whatever, is thanks to that, to doing research, to doing your own research, to not believing what you've been told for your whole life. Unfortunately, that's just, and then being in a family that, you find out things like that wasn't true or whatever. So I basically, it led me to find out about global warming, and things like that basically is for the environment as well, just so many things. So, but I try not to focus on that because obviously I'm not like I try to approach people when they tell me things like that. I try to okay, what are you into? And then I'll tell you what works or whatever, why this would be good for you, because a lot of people tell me, oh, I can never do it. I'm like, don't think of it as a diet. Because of course, if you're like, I can't eat sugar or I can't eat whatever, you can stuff your face with Oreos if you want to be that route, but I wouldn't recommend it because, just different things. But for me, it's always like the moral and ethical reasons, and I can't put my money towards something that I don't agree with.
When you raise children, though, surely the health has to come into the equation, right?
You have to think about that. Yeah, throughout your pregnancy and stuff, they check your blood, and then they want to, let's see if the baby's not big enough or whatever, or my kids were all past due, both of them, and they actually had to kind of be taken out of their studio apartment. They didn't want to come out. And so, and they're perfect. They were born perfectly, thank the gods, so,
and
yeah.
both were vegan from conception?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Both vegan from conception, yeah. And honestly, I think I had a great pregnancies. Both of my pregnancies were great. I had 0 issues. I think that varies from person to person, though. I don't think it has to do with veganism per se. I think a lot of things come into play with that. But I have 0 complaints, and I had my children later on in life, So first daughter, I had her at 32, and I just had my other one at 38. So yeah, it's possible.
Was there ever a time when a doctor suggested maybe this isn't a good idea?
So quite the contrary, actually. I was very surprised that even every medical professional that I would come across, and they see your chart or whatever, and then they see when you're in the hospital giving birth, you have vegan there for dietary things, and they're like, oh, that's amazing. That's great. That's the best thing you could do for your kid. And
wow.
I'm like, all right.
The best thing.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So, all right. Yeah.
And do you feel like it's the absolute best thing?
I think that you do, as a parent, you do you're trying to do better, right? Like every generation, that's why we evolve. For me, based on what I think, yes, I think that I would have loved to be raised vegan, because, you get the thing of oh, well, you're forcing your kid to be vegan. I'm like, well, I was forced to eat meat. I was forced to do all these, these things or whatever. But no, it's basically, this is my, and I ask my daughter now, and I ask her well, do you want to eat meat? Do you want to? And it's like, no, why would I? You know, like, so it's just kind of just introducing an idea that maybe is not, I mean, well, now it's becoming more well known. And so now a lot of more people are into it, you know, and understand it and come to, you know, I think now there's more studies on it and how it is much more beneficial, you know, for everything. And so, yeah, and my kids have come back with everything is fine. Like, you know, their blood work is great, like iron is one thing or whatever, protein question. Oh yeah, everything is fine, you know, so yeah.
And you're saying it that way because it's such a stereotypical thing to be concerned about from non-vegans' perspectives.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But it's not from yours.
Yeah, no, every vegan that you come across and they're like, oh, the vegan question, you're just like, oh, why? Yeah, like the protein thing, like, why are you concerned about your protein levels? I'm like, man, you guys are overly concerned about the protein. Yeah. And I know that there are parents that actually do, you know, they have apps and things, you know, like, oh, my kid's eating such and such or whatever, blah, blah. And I don't do that personally because I feel that my kids eat a variety of things, you know, so I incorporate vegetables, I incorporate nuts, I incorporate like tofu. Kids are surviving off of McDonald's, right? And mac and cheese and chicken nuggets and whatnot. So I think that if anything, it's going to be, I mean, they're fine, you know, and people are so surprised by what my kids eat. Like right now she was eating like a seaweed snack, you know, with almonds, and it's like, what are you eating, you know? So, and these are things that they enjoy.
Now, what about teaching them the ethics? How do you go about that?
Obviously, depending on the age and stuff, how you introduce it, how you say, you know, like, well, how did this come from this, you know? And so it's hard because I have told her, you know, well, they kill them, you know, and they, you know, I haven't shown her videos, but I've told her, you know, like, animals get slaughtered, you know, and she's like, well, how do they kill them? And I'm like, well, you know, sometimes with like a nail gun, sometimes, you know, electric shock, you know, the chickens, they hang them. We've gone to Chinatown, they see the ducks, you know, or whatever, like hanging upside down, you know, and you're just, you know, those things, I'm like, or I'll say like, poor fish, you know, like, look, they're there with, you know, they need water and they take them out of the water and they just die, you know. And so she does know, she understands that, you know, and especially when other people, family members and whatnot are eating, she'll ask like, oh, why are they eating that? Or why don't they know what that animal went through and stuff. And so I try to, it's hard because you're kind of like, I think at this point, if she were not like such a super vegan kid, I would like kind of probably more into it, but she is just very proud of who she is, you know. I'm very proud of that fact, and I'm very proud of her, you know, to be honest, because I've had other people that have, and now since veganism is becoming so popular, that have younger children, and they're like, that's the one thing that I'm just really worried about, you know, birthday parties or social gatherings. And I said, you just gotta kind of be prepared, you know, like you have in your purse, you gotta like something, you know, or like any sort of candy or treat or whatever that, you know, that, or I always ask ahead, hey, what are you guys having? Do you have a vegan option? If not, cool, let me know. You're having pizza? I'll take pizza. You're having cake? Cool, I'll take a piece of cake. I'll make a cake. I'll make a whole cake and I'll have them eat it, and then they'll be like, oh, this was amazing. It was vegan. And I do that all the time.
Excellent. Wow, you're on fire.
Yeah.
You know precisely what to do. How did you get so good at this? How is it just intuitive with you?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just very like passionate, I guess, about like things, and if I feel strongly for something, then nothing can deter me, especially if I know, you know, like I've done my research on things and I'm very like, okay, yeah, this is what I want, then yeah. I was telling somebody the other day, so when I became vegetarian, I worked at a buffet, right? And so like the worst place possible. And so we were always starving and stuff. And so I would always, you know, like, oh, go grab a piece of meat, go grab a piece of whatever, anything, you know. And I told them, I said, I'm a vegetarian now. They're like, yeah, right. Like, we'll give you a week. And I said, you don't know me. Like, I know me. And yeah, here we are.
Wow.
And I did say, I'll never become one of those crazy vegans, but yet again.
You don't seem crazy to me.
A little bit. You need a little crazy. Why not?
Nice. To live in this world.
Yeah.
Your husband now, has he been supportive with all this?
Yeah. So we met, I was already vegan. And I told him, I was like, the way it is, you know? And so I refuse to eat meat, to cook meat in my house, to have it in my home. And so he's like, okay, I understand. So like our backgrounds are very like meat heavy in certain things or whatever. But so I'm Mexican and Italian. My husband is Chilean and Italian. And we're raised off of these very traditional plates that a lot of them contain a lot of meat or animal products. And he was, okay, like I understand, I respect you. And at most, like he would bring like cookies and stuff because that's what he would eat in the morning, like cookies. And I'm like, okay, I can accept that because you're accepting everything so far, but nothing else. Like you can't bring in, and he doesn't. And it's funny, he's the only Italian I know that doesn't like coffee or cheese. Whatever, coffee, but cheese. And so I was like, you can just so easily be vegan, you know? And cheese is always the major one for a lot of us. But yeah, and so, yeah, and at home, and now he's trying to be more conscious of it when we go out, especially now because my daughter is 7 and she'll question, why are you eating that? Or can I have some of that? Oh, I can't. Okay, why? You know, so then why are you ordering that?
What about other family members? Have they given you a hard time? Have you been able to convert any or anything like that?
I don't care what people have to say, honestly, to think or anything like that. I am always been very my own person, you know. So if you know, they're like, I'm the only vegan in my family, and I think that I've had friends that actually I'll share things, you know. Sometimes I'll go across videos. And I don't watch them anymore because it's too much for me. I'm like, I'm already there. I don't need to, you know, but I know what it's about, so I'll just share it. And I've had people like message me and say, hey, so I've seen this video and can you help me? You know, because I'm interested in veganism now. I'm interested in this, or why did you do this? And why that? Or what do you know, how can you help me to, you know, to make certain changes? And just a friend the other day was telling me like, oh, the other day I was going to eat fish. And I remember that conversation we had and I didn't. And I was like, yes. And so that for me is my little grain of salt, you know, because you can't change everybody, right? But with slight changes, like tu granito de arena, we say in Spanish or whatever, and it's your little grain of sand, you know, that you can, you know, it's there, you know, and so it'll stick there at some point, or somebody will be like, and I tell people, I said, for me, that's the most important thing. That's the best gift that you can give me, and tell me, oh, I remember that crazy vegan, and she said this, but you know what? She was right. And like, let me reach out to her and whatever. And so, all right.
That's sweet. Going back to having babies, the pregnancy process, you know, maybe infancy, breastfeeding, do you feel like, you know, and it may be hard to imagine because you've only done it this way, right? Mm-hmm. Do you feel like it's profoundly different than raising a child any other way?
Like non-vegan?
Yeah.
Oh, I just couldn't fathom it. I don't think
I mean, but like challenge-wise, do you feel like this would have been just as easy to do this way as opposed to the other way?
Possibly. I don't wanna like down what other people have done, you know.
No, I mean like you didn't have to take like extra supplements or do anything like totally different.
No. Like I took a multivitamin before, like we were trying to get pregnant and things like that. But I've heard that you really don't have to, you know, like a prenatal and things like that. Mostly it's like your diet and how you know. And I'm not a super healthy vegan, you know, like I do eat, you know, I do try to be mindful of things, but I mean, I eat junk food. I think it would have been fine either way. But
or just as easy either way.
I do feel that if I weren't vegan, I could see other people in my family and how they are, like their health issues and things like that, and I can see that like that probably would have happened to me, you know, or just like.
So you're not having any health issues?
No.
None whatsoever.
No, none.
So as far as it being different, like I'm trying to help people understand how different it might be to do this, and I've had some people tell me it's no different. Like the doctor told me the same stuff that he would have told anybody else.
Yeah.
And I did the same things, you know, drink a lot of water, take a multivitamin or whatever. Like you have the same recommendations, same things you got to think about.
Yeah. If anything, it's easier, I think, as a vegan, because a lot of people are like, oh, I can't eat sushi and that's raw fish. We don't have that issue, you know, or like cold cuts or things like that. It's probably a little bit harder, you know, but I don't know. I think ultimately it's the same. I mean, you have the same issues, you get the same things. And that's another thing that kind of goes down another rabbit hole with like the healthcare industry or whatever, is once you go, I mean, the business of being sick, right? That's just what it is. So, I mean, yeah, the pediatrician gives me recommendations, wild recommendations that you just kind of, like I said, I always tell people, do your own research before. If something seems off to you, do your research. You just please, like, don't go based on what they're saying. But I've had a pediatrician when my daughter, my youngest, was 4 months old. Oh, you can start introducing nut butters. And I was like, okay, like, so, like, peanut butter, and no, he said not peanut butter. He said almond butter, hazelnut butter, and I forgot what other one he said. And I said, I think probably sunflower. And I said, oh, so excuse me. I'm like, what hazelnut? Because you knew we were vegan. And I said, what's a hazelnut butter? And he's like, oh, like Nutella, but you could get a teaspoon and with their baby food. And I had him repeat it to me 3 times because I was like, let me make sure I'm like, and you're telling people this to basically put Nutella, which is filled with sugar, into a fruit already high in sugar or whatever for a 4-month-old, just to introduce maybe the tiniest amount of hazelnuts. And I was like, yeah, okay.
I became a grandfather recently, and
Congrats.
And thank you. I was told that the doctor suggested they introduce things like potential allergens. They were like, well, we need to introduce eggs in case she wants eggs one day. And I'm like, well, there's no dietary requirement for eggs.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything like that?
I mean, I think that we talk about, like, sometimes, like, what if they consume meat, or what if they consume something, like, would their body react to it? If you're gonna have an allergy, you're gonna have an allergy with it. If either you consume it or you're not gonna consume it. But I don't feel like if you're vegan, why would I? Let's see if I'm allergic to eggs. I mean, it's not a.
Yeah. But now, okay, so when you're pregnant now, did you have to be like super careful and strategic with your diet, or did you just kind of basically eat? I like to break it down like this: legumes, greens, grains, fruits, veggies, mushrooms, nuts, seeds, herbs, and spices.
All of the above.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ate everything that I could. We went on vacation, and we went to Italy to visit family and friends, and I mean, you just eat everything that you can. It's not hard. I think, especially if you've been vegan for so long, it's not an issue. And then pregnancy, if anything, it's more of like, if you want to have seconds, thirds, fourths, you're like, pregnant, sorry, I just gotta stuff my face, like, and then, I mean, they're happy to feed you anyway, so yeah.
Now, as far as like breastfeeding, how long did you do that?
So for my first, I breastfed her for she was 3 years and a month. Yeah, and so this one, we're still going strong. Yeah.
And how old is
She's gonna be 18 months.
Nice. And did you try to include certain foods in your diet? Or just still all of the above?
Yeah, all of the above. I did nothing different. Yeah, it's just...
Okay. So it's pretty straightforward and easy,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So whatever you were eating before you're even trying to be pregnant, you basically just kept eating the same things. Okay, cool to know. Now, as far as introducing solids, how did that go?
So we did baby-led weaning for both, and I mean, fine. Yeah, I mean, just, we just little by little, and I mean, the same things, because I think a lot of kids, they get introduced with, like, avocado, I mean, well, they should, right? Like, who knows what other ones do, but, I mean, I'm not feeding my kid, like, drumstick or whatever, but yeah, I mean, the same things, so we started with just fruits and vegetables, and not processed things or anything like that. And yeah, my 7-year-old eats everything, like, so many different things, and things that you wouldn't, I feel that they're more open to trying different things, instead of, I don't know if it's a cultural thing or if it's an American thing, you have the kids menu, and it's like mac and cheese, chicken tenders, blah, 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 blah. And we're like,
all the same.
Yeah. And my kid's like, can I have some sushi? Can I have some, anything, whatever. And so their palates are much more advanced. And I think in so many things, by being introduced to different things, that wanting to try different fruits, wanting to try, instead of just like, oh, I just want an apple, or I just want an orange, like, I want dragon fruit, I want cotton candy grapes, I want, so many things. Pros and cons to that, though, because it gets kind of expensive. Yeah.
That is awesome. So I like that advanced palate you said there, because I've heard it described as a sophisticated palate, which is really interesting, because our taste buds are acquired, so you can learn to love something that loves back, essentially.
Yeah.
As far as like the kind of foods, any tips there that, like, as far as like introducing solid foods, did you blend them? Did you try to get high protein foods like tofu and maybe some kale in there somehow, like in a blender or?
Yeah, so with veggies, I have to hide more vegetables from my husband than for my kids, and that's the truth.
You mean sneak them in?
Yeah. So, because he's super picky, I don't know how he survived, but yeah, I mean, it's funny because me being vegan, I was never like big on like raw tofu, but my daughter just started like eating it like just straight, and I'm like, oh my God, you are just like mega vegan or whatever, right? And so now I do like a little sauce over it or whatever, and I'll give it to her. And now that's like our favorite thing. And it does taste good. I'm like, oh, that makes sense or whatever, when it's pressed correctly, and then you add the salts to it. But my youngest too, I mean, so it's for solids, it's because we do baby-led weaning. So it's kind of, whatever we eat, we just give it to her too. But in like a smaller, I guess, portion obviously, and like probably like smaller pieces and things like that. But I mean, we give her everything. Like everything we eat, it's the same thing. Like if I give her pasta, it's pasta. If mushrooms inside, mushrooms. We do this thing called Hulk gnocchi, which is, we chop up the spinach and it's like a butter sauce and some lemon and some gnocchi, and that's what I made yesterday. And so both the kids ate it. It's the same thing. Yeah.
Wow, you make this feel so like natural and easy.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, as far as schooling, I guess you're homeschooling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And socializing, I think that was something you shared, that you would like to get them more socialized.
Yes, vegan kids, please reach out. Yes, because my kid wants to have other vegan friends, and it's hard. I mean, it's hard in general, I think, nowadays.
Yeah, because you want your kids, no matter vegan or not, you want them around healthy, happy, appropriate children, right?
Yeah.
No matter if they're vegan or not.
And it just sucks when you have a kid that's just kind of like, that they'll, oh no, but like, I don't know, bacon grease, oh, ha ha ha, ha ha ha, like that they just say things and like my daughter's like, all right, and I'm like, yeah, you're gonna have to deal with this a lot. So, you develop a thick skin in a lot of different aspects, but yeah.
I think it's probably a lot easier nowadays than it used to be. I've interviewed some very lifelong vegans who are like my age, even older than me, who've been their whole life. If they're brought up with parents that educate them like you're doing and are very supportive and have a good rapport with them, then it just makes the kid stronger, a better leader. Do you feel like you kind of are a leader? Because you said, you'll speak your mind essentially. And do you feel like you almost got to be a leader to do this?
Yeah, you have to be very sure of yourself. You have to be very confident in what you're doing, because you will I think in general in life, right? But when it comes to things like this, when you are going against the tide in so many aspects, you have to, So I always tell people, like, when they meet me, it's either the homeschooling thing or the vegan thing. So I'm going to just print out some pamphlets and just hand them out, because I don't want to give you guys my same spiel all the time, or whatever. But I'm happy to do it. If people genuinely want to know about something, then yeah, I'm very okay. I got my list, and then so the same thing goes with vegan. If they want to ask me about the veganism, okay, so physiologically we're not designed to eat meat, if that's your thing. Oh no, but they're here for us. No, they're not. Like, animals aren't here for you, and things like that. So I go through what I know, and I'll say, whatever and stuff. But sometimes you could just hear people when you're talking and they're just kind of, because it's too like, okay, yeah, you're hitting it. I don't want to know, because ignorance is bliss. So I'd rather not know more, because once I know, then it probably is going to be harder. And then I do have to become an extreme vegan or whatever, or somebody different, because it's easier to just say, oh, okay, yeah, and especially in our culture, to say, oh no, to something that's being offered. And it's like, no, it's not that I'm being rude. It's just that this is, it's also respecting my decision, so yeah, you have to kind of have all that prepared, in the back of your mind.
Yeah, I interviewed Joanne Farr recently, who has two daughters, vegan from birth. One's 30 and the other one's just a little younger. And they've both been doing, great at maintaining it, and still to this day have zero interest in anything different. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
It's good to hear.
Yeah, they're just as adamant about maintaining it just as much as you and I are, and will never stray. I'm confident, And even older ones that I've met, it was interesting to interview their mother, because she told us how she did it. Around the same age as your oldest daughter, she said, hey, I want to give you the ability to make your own choices. So they feel like they're doing this. Are you doing anything to foster their independence and encourage them to make their own choices?
So I've had that question asked to me numerous times from people that that aren't vegan, and they're like, oh, well, so what if they reach a certain age and then they start wanting to, what would you do? And I said, well, I think that then I will present, the truth, the harder truths or whatever for them to digest, because if they're at that point, then yes, I will show them, different things, or like, hey, so you think it's just a burger, you think it's just, oh, this, I don't know, calamari or whatever, I'm like, this is the process of obtaining that product. I have asked my daughter different times, and she's had numerous occasions where she can just choose, to eat something else, and she doesn't. The other day we ate something, a burger, I want to say, or like shrimp. I think it was shrimp, and she didn't like it, and she's like, is this what it tastes like, the vegan shrimp? And I say, well, yeah, it's kind of like gummy. It's kind of, she's like, oh, I don't like that, and I'm like, well, the good thing is that nowadays there's so many things that taste so similar to what the actual product is, and she's like, oh, okay, like, why would I even, she's like, I have zero interest, Yeah. And so, no, I think that for her, we enjoy our meals, so it's not like, or if I say, that's, I think, why it's worked so well, because, for example, my husband's favorite food is carbonara, right? And so so carbonara is an Italian dish. It's an Italian pasta dish made primarily with eggs and like bacon or some sort of pancetta or whatever, which is like pork and stuff. So we've veganized it, and it's amazing. And so anything you can do, I can do better. And so we've done that, and my husband makes the best carbonara, and people who don't eat meat love it. We've had guests over, and we will host, and like, oh, this is all vegan. Yeah, we've had Thanksgiving dinner. I've made scallops before, and I'm very big on like, okay, I have a taste for this. Okay, cool. Let me figure out how I can make that. Sweet. And so I think that's the key, is to make things interesting, or to not kind of keep going the same things, and don't stuff your face with Oreos, because that's just, like, you can make cookies with your kids doing the same thing, just to veganize it, There's so many things that it shouldn't be a barrier. If anything, it's going to be better later on, for them, health-wise, and just, I think mentally, they're just free of that guilt that I think we people that aren't vegan from birth carry sometimes. Like, I wish I knew better than, but then growing up, it's also the same thing too, that if you don't have the parents that, hey, I don't want to make a separate dish for you, or you can starve, that support, then yeah, it makes a huge difference. But if you go somewhere and they're like, oh yeah, I love mac and cheese, and my kid's like, I love mac and cheese too. My mom makes the best mac and cheese. So yeah.
You're making me think of a restaurant I went to recently here in town. I don't know if I can pronounce it right. It's Manna, Manya or Manya?
Oh, Mana?
Mana, yeah.
Manna?
Yeah. Uh-huh. And they had a really good mac and cheese.
Oh, okay.
And I went to the one that you recommended, Vegan Plate.
Vegan Plate.
I wanted to plug them because that dish was incredible.
Love them.
That I had, yeah.
Good, I'm so glad.
And I got to interview the owner at both places. So I just thought it would be cool to plug them, because it was just such a special...
They deserve it. They're great.
Definitely. Do you find that there's a lot of vegan options around here?
Yeah. I just wish that there's always a vegan... Like, for example, if you go to a restaurant, oh, there's a vegan burger. Or there's things you can eat. I just wish that, like, America in general, or maybe where we're at, I don't know. It's just, I wish they would expand more. Like, there's so many things that you can have other aside from just a burger, or, I don't know. I think it's just easier to do different things.
I went to this place called Vegan Cafe. I don't know how far it is from here, but it's like all living raw food.
Okay.
And it was fantastic.
Okay.
So I've had a pretty good variety so far around.
Chicago's amazing. I think that for compared to other cities and things like that, we do have a lot of things. So I'm grateful. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm grateful. I love you, Shai. But no, I think that, because I was saying, like, going to Italy, for example, like I was saying, there's just so many veganized products that just taste exactly like what they're, and it's just amazing, like so good, that you're just like, man, I wish that would come over here. So there are certain products that have come, but
And when you're saying products, like you don't mean like mock meats?
Yeah, like mock meats.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
like mock meats. So like they'll
But
have,
not something that your daughter would be like, ew, why do people eat this?
Yeah, no, like for example, like a milanesa, which is kind of like a breaded piece of like meat or whatever. They have a vegan version of that over there in Italy, and every time we go, we'll eat that. Or like their cheeses. Their cheeses here are good. We've gotten good. We've gotten really good with that. So I can't say anything about that, but those are good. They have like yogurts that are amazing over there, and though there's a cream, like a cream sauce too, that's just easy, ready to make, or they have like pudding, like just so many things. But it's like we have those certain things here, but it's such a like higher quality over there that I wish that that would come over, or cookies too. Like, oh my God, like the biscotti that they have in Italy. Obviously, just Italian cookies in general are like, oh wow, amazing. But in the same aisle, and my husband's from a small town in Italy, and you find it there in the small little grocery store, they have those vegan things there too. So I wish that we would have more of that, and it's high quality, products like cookies and mock meats and, and cheeses and things like that. So
Wow. I'm half Italian also, so you're making me really want to go to Italy.
you should go to Italy anywhere you go. Like, yeah, it's great. Yeah. So I've been like north and south, and yeah, it's amazing.
That's so cool, because it's hard to know if other places, other parts of the world are really doing this, here in our own little bubble.
Yeah, we base our vacations around, like, my husband would be like, all right, where are we going to go eat? I'm like, all right, there's this restaurant. I saw this place, whatever. So, yeah, I mean, I've been to, like, Italy, Dominican Republic, Mexico, things like that. And it's not, I think, like I said, I think if once you are like set in your, like, it's not a diet. It's not, oh my God, it's because I can't eat meat. Oh, why? It's kind of like,
it's more like I can do all these great things.
Yeah, like what can I eat? How can I expand my palate in this area, instead of just eating, whatever. And most of the time I eat better than most people that eat normal, So,
You're making me think, there's been quite a few interviews where somebody has been like, I was out to eat with so-and-so or a group of people a lot of times. And it's happened several times. And when my plate came out, everybody else that was non-vegan at the table was like just shocked how beautiful our plates can look.
Even in airlines, like if you order your vegan and I'll give you some people like, man, I wish I would have gotten that. Yeah. So also, like, note to everyone, do not eat a vegan. If that's the only thing they're eating, okay, if I offer you little piece, like just because I've had people, oh yeah, like you want to try it, yeah, and then they eat half of your stuff or most of your thing, and you're like, yeah, but there's all these other things that and you're grateful for it, right? You're grateful, but you're like,
I'll give my whole plate. Shoot, I don't care. I'll fast. I can fast.
Yeah. See, no, I like to eat. No,
I do too. Do you think it's important for others to, really consider this?
Oh yeah.
Like raising your children this way.
Yeah. I think that like vegan is the future. Honestly, I think that once we're becoming more and more aware of, and I think this newer generation is more awake in so many areas. There's so many
awoke,
changes.
but awake.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
kidding, I don't know.
Exactly. We're woke. Ay, señor. But yeah, I think in so many things we're questioning things. We're breaking generational curses. We're doing so many things. We're changing our mindset in so many areas. And I feel that veganism is one of those things, that questioning, like, why? Wait a second. This maybe isn't the way to go. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful that these are the times I'm like, man, crazy times we're living in, I just read an article, they're making vegan Nutella now, and just so many things. Not to say that I wouldn't get the other ones that have come before them or whatever, but yeah, I think that it's good to have those options, because there's always that fear of, do you want your kid to be,
different.
Yeah, different. And that's the thing too. For me, being unique is such a high quality.
Yeah.
Like, yes, like, heck yes, be unique, be that person, because there's people will like look at you and be like, oh yeah, and we follow you, and you won't even know it. Like you won't even know it, but you are changing. People see you and like, yeah, that's cool. Or they'll see my kid. Oh my God, your kid's vegan?
Yeah.
Yeah, my kid is vegan. You expecting like a little scrawny little kid? Like, no, and or homeschool too. The same thing. Oh, but your kid's so social. Yeah, I mean, it's breaking those like I guess myths, and like breaking those like fake false walls, I think, of of the narrative of so many things that, we're at a time where, yeah, no. No, it's not true. But do your own research. Please do your own research. Yeah, you have to do what's right for you.
I'm curious about like culture now, real quick on that. So do you think historically that cultures really were trying to do as little harm to animals as possible until things got commercialized? And do you feel like potentially our great ancestors, however far back, even thousands of years, might have kind of had some vegan in them, in that they didn't needlessly harm animals, and maybe they just did it because, of dire circumstances, out of necessity?
And things. Yeah. I definitely do believe that. My mom is Mexican. She was brought up in a rancho, like they had a million kids, I guess. And it was a thing that if you speak to people and they'll say, oh yeah, my grandparents, my great grandparents, they hardly ate meat. It was expensive, probably, and also it just wasn't part of like an everyday thing, and they were healthier, they were much better off, and they found other things that were tasted better, or that you think about like Mexican diet, rice and beans, you could add like vegetables, you add sweet potatoes, you add, just potatoes in general,
Squash
like tortillas,
and
yeah, I mean, yeah, so many things. So it's not necessary. And when you tell people, when you show people, oh, this is what I eat, oh, this is amazing, this is so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that back in the day, it's like so many things that, oh no, we've been eating meat for so many years. Yeah, but look at how the health has been declining. Look at how many illnesses, look how much sickness, how much everything has gone up. And it's the normal, oh, hey, this kid, the person, adult, 30-year-old, had a heart attack. Oh, okay, and it's normal now. Things are, oh, there's kids getting diabetes now, and it's normal, and it's, it's things that you can, yeah, it's like a lot of things are your diet and the way you live your life, like what's in your house, what is in your environment, there's so many chemicals, so many things, but then that's another,
yeah.
That's another thing that, and so I think that for me, like veganism is not, it's just one of the many things that people are like, oh, she has so many things, like food dyes, chemicals, like so like fragrances and whatnot. And for people in the past, I think that they didn't eat that way, and it's just kind of easier to say, oh no, well, you were meant to eat it and this is what it was. And like, no, I don't think so. I don't agree with that. So
you're making me think of a few things here. So one, like you mentioned, like the traditional diet and some of the things that they ate. Have you ever heard of the Hispanic paradox? Dr. Greger mentioned it one time. And it's like a lot of the Hispanic people that may be a lower socioeconomic status end up eating a lot of beans and rice, like you said.
Yeah.
And they end up with less health issues or have better health outcomes a lot of times.
So in Mexico, I've heard people tell me, because when I began this journey, and they're like, oh, soy meat. And soy meat in Mexico is it's very well known, because people would use soy meat and mix it in with the regular meat so it would be more abundant, to make it stretch out, and so it's not as uncommon. Maybe growing up they thought they were eating pure meat, but maybe half of it was soy, you never know.
Wow. And the other thing you mentioned, diabetes. It used to be called adult onset diabetes, but now they call it type 2 diabetes because children are getting it. That's why it actually changed the name. A vegan who is like the same BMI as a non-vegan, say they're both like a certain high BMI, the non-vegan ends up having higher propensity toward diabetes than the vegan, and because of the visceral fat in the non-vegan is creating the insulin resistance, whereas the vegan has like a subcutaneous fat and it's less likely to result in diabetes. I just find that fascinating, that there's just so many ways in which this is not just protective, decreasing the risk, but also preventing many chronic diseases. So to me, it just seems like the default way to raise your children should be this way, because it's...
Why not help them if you can?
Yeah. I mean, it seems like the default way to... Like, who would want to set their children up for failure, you know? And I understand that people aren't doing this intentionally. So, they just have to become aware, hopefully, and then act on that.
It's just kind of like, I think people go along with what other people do, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna give my kid goldfish crackers.
Yeah.
Oh, so I should start giving my kid goldfish crackers. Oh, I'm gonna give my kid this, or, you know, and it's like, those are the snacks, you know, oh, this is what, you know, whatever. And yeah, it's normal. Oh, like, give my kid, like, you know, just so many things, like candy and what, oh, but this, because they're kids, this is what they eat. The same thing, like the kids menu, right? Like things like that. Oh, whatever. But how many things are like beneficial to them? Like it's harder for people, for when you do go to these things, be like, oh, well, I packed my kid this, or whatever, you know, or something completely different. So I feel that that's what makes it difficult. But people are just so used to like, oh, well, other people are doing it, or this is just the way that things are done. If you know your stuff, you know, like, with this reminds me of like when I had my daughter, I didn't know any better, right? So I started going down rabbit holes and stuff, and with like plastic toys. We don't do plastic toys. I told everybody, you know, like, hey, we appreciate any gifts, but please let them be wooden, or if you want, I'll go buy them and you can like reimburse me, whatever. I'll give it to you, like whatever. I'll make it easy for you, you know? I sent articles, you know, translated articles for my family who didn't speak English, you know, and it wasn't respected. And and so it's hard to navigate those things, but my husband and we're on the same page, you know, we speak about everything. We're a team. And so when that Christmas rolled around and those things happened, my husband's like, okay, those toys stay there, you know, at grandparents' house. And it created an issue, but then again, like, those are things that, like, you have to be sure of what you want, you know, and and I've had conversations afterwards, like, oh, you want your kids to be in a bubble. Everybody else is doing it. What's wrong with it? I said, oh, so just because it could cause a little cancer, a little endocrine, like, disruption, sure, like, let me just do it because everybody else is doing it? That makes zero sense to me. So, oh yeah, cool, like, everybody's doing it. Yeah, let's do that too. How about no?
Yeah, you're making me think of Gregor when he says, you don't want normal in a culture where it's normal to have heart disease and cancer and all that, like normal blood pressure or normal cholesterol. And then you mentioned like the plastic and the clothes and quite a few things. And that's cool stuff, because it's not just that you're just thinking about additional things. These are also more vegan ways of being, I think, because these are invasive to all life, really, right?
You're more conscious of things.
Yeah. So if you're wearing like clothes and you're not thinking about, well, there might be like microplastics in my clothes, which is, you know, something my friend who's a lifelong vegan, she makes hemp clothing, for example. And she sells it, you know, out of the passion of wanting to help people with this very kind of, it seems like nuanced thing, but she's very cognizant of the fact that our clothes are toxic to our bodies, and when you wash them, they end up being toxic to the waterways, and it ends up being toxic to fish and all that. That's so cool. It's like next level stuff.
Yeah, and that's the thing, that it sucks, because it's kind of like you start one thing and then it's like, and then people get overwhelmed, right? So that's why I'm like, okay, so what do you want to ask me about? Because I don't want to scare you off.
You got to meet them where they're at.
Yeah, you know, or you kind of like throw things out there, like, oh, so, you know, when you meet somebody new, like, so what do you think about plastic? Or what do you think about, like, you know, whatever? Or what's your opinion?
Do you use toilet paper?
Cool. Yeah. I've been trying to get my husband to do family cloth. No, it's not.
Or a bidet, you know?
Yeah, we do have one, but no,
cool.
Yeah.
All right. As far as like meeting people where they're at and being hyper nuanced, that can actually like push people away. And I'm glad you're bringing that up, because when we first went vegan in my family, some people gave us a hard time for little things like using like shells in jewelry or something. And it's like, is that really, somebody might not be as vegan as somebody else, but at the same time, there's always going to be somebody who's more vegan than that person.
And in the vegan community, it's kind of, it's hard. But I think it's like people in general. You know, I mean, some people aren't nice, and some people, it doesn't mean that just because you don't eat animals doesn't mean that you're not an asshole. You know, like, so I mean, you could be.
And you have a companion animal, and it's a what kind of dog is that?
He's a Cairn Scottish Terrier mix. I don't know what he is, but I adopted him when he was 2, and he's the only kid that I would have tattooed on me.
So there's your little buddy. Yeah. Hey.
Jealous. But yeah, he's 18, and he's gonna be 19 in December, so he's 18 and a half.
Wow.
18
And that's
and a half.
human years?
Human years.
Wow, sweet. And
Yeah.
he's doing good?
He's doing great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And he's been plant-based pretty much the whole time?
So when I adopted him, I wasn't vegan, and so he's been vegan for about 10 years, I think.
Nice.
10 years, because I became vegan, and then I saw things about, I think I saw the speech about Gary Yourofsky about the vegan dog food, and I was like, oh, all right, we can do that, and so then that's, yeah.
Cool. And what, is it hard to feed him that way?
No, and nowadays there's so many choices, so yeah, no, I think even if you Google like vegan dog food, there's so many, and it's readily available anywhere. So there's zero excuse,
Cool. And then is there any resources that you want to recommend? Maybe cookbooks, kids books, anything like that?
I don't have a specific one, to be honest. We have all like, I guess the normal like kids books, like Vegan is Love and all like.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so we have a bunch of those. I have those there. But yeah, I mean, we go to vegan events and we support. And so if I see something that I'm like, okay, cool, I'll add that to our library, or, things we do, our water bottles, we take water bottles everywhere. And so our water bottles are filled with stickers, with vegan stickers. So it's a thing that even my daughters, and like, so it's just there and it'll, come up. So I think, I don't know, I think ultimately it's just being true to yourself, no matter how, whatever, and it'll come naturally. And that way, if it's forced, then it's like, I don't have to wear vegan shirts all the time. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to wear, or how they joke like, oh, you'll know a vegan because they'll tell you they're vegan. Yeah. Ay, señor. Yeah.
Do you have any sort of like quotes that come to mind?
Like, what is it? The one about like your body is your temple thing or whatever. But I mean, I don't know. My thing is just like, you are what you eat. I think that's the main one for me, that kind of just, kind of when I became vegan, and that kind of clicked for me, like, okay, I don't want to eat this other animal's pain.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that on the phone to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to say about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the main thing is that if you don't want to, like, when I feel that I have somebody's attention for a short time, and you can tell, that they just ask you because they just want to be either, not because they really care to know, but I'll tell them like, hey, so, animals, if you lose one sense, your other senses are heightened, right? So these animals know what's happening to them. They smell, the death, they smell whatever, they can sense like fear, all this stuff. So when they're in the slaughter line, and they get killed, what do you think happens? What happens to you when you get scared? Your body tenses up, and you have all these, this
cortisol,
yes,
and adrenaline,
exactly, all these things or whatever.
Arachidonic acid.
Yeah, and so you're consuming that animal's fear, that animal's pain, all these things, and what do you think that translates to down the line? Do I want that? Like, no. I'm not a religious person, but I am spiritual. In that aspect. You try to do the less harm that you can. We're only here for so long. Why not do the best that you can do, while you're here, especially now. There's no excuse. Like, there's zero excuse. It's just little choices.
Yeah, no excuse for animal abuse. Do you feel like this translates over or transfers over into being more compassionate to humans too?
I think, yeah, like you try. But I'd prefer an animal over a human. It just in so many things, just because, I don't know. I think I've just had horrible experiences with people or whatever in general. But I think that I'm the same person, like the person you see today. Like I said, I can't be fake. It's hard for me to be hypocritical or anything like that. And so I think that
I love that you're not.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. But yeah, I think a lot of people are just, and especially now that it's hard to socialize, like people don't know how to socialize, how to carry a conversation, how to, you can't, I don't know, it's just
beyond the trivial.
Yeah, I mean, it's socially acceptable to go to with somebody and then you're on your phone the whole time.
Yeah.
You can't, people don't know how to carry a conversation, or they're like, people are rude and they're like, oh, it's because they're just shy or they're just an introvert. Okay, I'm an extroverted introvert. That doesn't mean, you know what I'm saying? It's not, I don't know. I think that but it's normal, right? Mm-hmm. And people are like, it's okay. Same thing, like you put your kid in front of a tablet and that's normal. Oh, your kid's so well behaved. No, because you're like, your kid is just there and you're entertaining them but it's to what cost? So I don't know. I'm not the best person to say For humans, I try to be. I'm nice to everybody, and I wish I would find more people that are like that or whatever.
Like-minded. But I'm curious now, like with all your knowledge and love for food and creativity and passion to see your children socialize, do you think you'll ever funnel that into something entrepreneurial?
Yeah, right. I should. I should do that. I think once I get my sanity back after, like, when you have kids, it's just kind of like,
it's all it's about right now.
Yeah, and I'm sleep deprived still. So,
maybe when they get older, they can help you do something.
Yeah, no, I think that it's funny because when I joined co-op, they're like, well, what's your talent? And I'm just like, and honestly, I don't know if it's I'm like, I don't know what my talent is, but I'm like, do you want me to teach about like cooking? Do you want me to teach about, just different things, but that's the magic of homeschooling, and the greatness of it is that you can just kind of do your own thing. So I guess I got to see what I'm best at doing. But yeah, I don't know. They say I'm good with kids. I feel like sometimes I fish it out, but I guess I am. I do have that or whatever. So yeah, I mean, that's a good idea. Yeah, I definitely think that it's a great opportunity to do something like that, to open up. I was saying I was trying to find like-minded families or whatever, so I'm like, I'm down for even creating like, hey, let's do a play date once a month to X place or Y place or whatever, and then seeing where we go from there. Maybe we can, I don't know, meet at a restaurant, or we can host here, and we can do something, so
a lot of new vegans will do like potlucks for their community. and or do meetup. Like
I try to get and do as many things as possible and try to get up on as many events and things like that. We're out and about. And
yeah, I heard there's going to be a big Veg Fest coming up here. Have you heard about that?
Veggie Fest?
Yeah, Veggie Fest.
Veggie Fest, yeah.
It's like huge, I heard.
Yes, Veggie Fest is great. They haven't been back for years now. I want to say it's been like 6 years or five or 6 years. But yeah, this year they're bringing it back, and I think it's 2 days now. So that's really cool. It gets packed, super packed, yeah. but it's cool. And then it's vegetarian mostly, but they do have vegan things or whatever. Oh. But it's really cool.
And then there's the big farmers market. I heard it's like one of the top in the nation. The Logan.
Oh, Logan Square one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of like I said, there's so many things. Sometimes it's you get the FOMO of like there's so many things that you wanna explore and stuff, and yeah, so yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy for everybody that it's becoming a thing.
Are you online? Is there any way to reach you?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook mostly. So
you want to put that out there at all?
Yeah, that's fine. Under Lani y Salvatore, if you're interested. Yeah, send me a message and then we can like connect or whatever. Or if you wanna I mean, I'm down to having friends from all over.
Do you have a library?
Yeah, I have books. Yeah, I can show you books. If
yeah, that'd be cool.
The books, yeah. So these are just a couple of books that we have, so that I've gotten throughout like festivals or vegan fests and whatnot that we just kind of have accumulated over the years. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty much.
Yeah. V is for vegan.
V is for vegan. Vegan is love. I'm a super vegan, and like vegan family I just got actually in Texas not too long ago. So
wow, that looks interesting.
Yeah, this one's cool. She's really good, Ruby Roth. This is our playroom. Stella, ven amore. Come on, show it. Bring your stuff. Bring it here. So plastic free as possible. Very limited plastic, but yeah, we have a little bit of everything here.
Cool stuff going on in here.
Yeah. And if you want to come in here, I'll show you how to storage, and probably shouldn't show the inside of the closet, but my husband likes to color to de-stress things. We have stuff for the kids to calm down, like here for yoga for kids, and like
that's yoga for
calm
kids.
Down yoga, and a little mirror, so that way.
Oh, a little mirror, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's like games galore. That's all the books. Yeah, it's pretty.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pan up those slabs. And come down.
Yeah.
You like that closet, don't you?
Sí, amore, sí. Yeah. We try.
Stuff on the wall here.
Yeah, this is our storage. Some way to maintain. Yeah.
This is probably like all wood, I guess.
Yeah, this is all wood. These are Melissa and Doug. These are like the best thing. Once your grandchild is old enough, this is the number one toy, I think, that all kids like. These are like Love Every toys. That it's a subscription, but I buy the stuff secondhand through Marketplace. It's called Love Every. So that's like this. It's a subscription, yeah. And then yeah, they have based on like your kid's age and stuff, and so I just get like things that I feel like would be interesting for her.
There you go.
Yeah. There you go.
You got him. Oh, almost.
No, not the last one. There you go. Bravo, amore.
You got a little guitar over there?
Yeah, a little ukulele. It's full of Trader Joe stickers and stuff. And yeah, just the thing, that's a like you pop it out, it's a slide actually, which is really cool because you can fold it up and put it away, and you have space, which is amazing. I love Sesame Street. If you can't tell, I don't know, I really love Sesame Street. Not so much when they talk, but.
Oh, and there's some more over here. Mm-hmm. And then you got those books.
Yeah, they got a couple books and stuff that we try to pull out, and
there's Luna's name.
And Luna and Stella.
What's this?
This is for like before I got this carpet, I had this here, so in case they fall or something, it's not so bad.
So the whole floor is pretty soft.
Yeah, this is homey or whatever. So.
And there's Stella's name.
Yeah, because we had Stella's birthday party, so I made her name. I did all of that, the foam with the felt, and the letters and cardboard and all this stuff. So, yeah, those are vintagey. Those were when I was a kid.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
We got a little area over here, like a kitchen.
A little kitchen. Look, we veganized the milk. So we put soy milk. Awesome. Almond milk. This is almond milk. Yeah, and then I got like little olive oil things too and stuff. So yeah.
Cool.
These are vegan eggs, we say.
Yeah, what did you call them? Yole?
Vegan. Oh, the Yo eggs. Yeah, like I wish they would bring those. Yeah, the ones from Los Angeles. Hey, what you got? All right, you're just having.
Is this kind of like where she does her makeup and stuff?
Yeah, this is She'll pretend to do makeup, gives you like a little parlor thing. You get to choose your makeover or whatever. Mama needs one of those, the real one of those, but for right now, we'll deal with the kid version of it.
Cool. We got a little shopping cart.
Yeah, a little shopping cart. We got 2 shopping carts. And then they have like their own little phone.
That's the kind of phone I had growing up.
Yeah.
Like a real one like that.
I had a yellow one on the wall, so those are cool.
You mean when you were a kid?
Yeah, when I was a kid, yeah. So whenever you're mad, you could be like, and they'll know you're upset.
Yeah, you can't really do that now.
Yeah, you can't just be like, I forcefully ended this call. Yeah, no.
Well, thanks for sharing this space.
Yeah.
What's inside those doors right there?
So this just let me see.
And why is it important that everything's wood instead of plastic?
So there's plastic is like known carcinogen. There's like endocrine disruptors. There's so many things that even BPA-free things aren't safe. So I mean, we'll never know what's safe, I guess, but. I just try to do the best possible. And then I know that a lot of Melissa and Doug, which is a lot of the wooden toys, have tested positive for lead, but I've actually got a lead kit or whatever, and I tested them to make sure.
Oh, cool.
So these don't. Nice. These don't have those. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of you trying to do what's best, I guess. And then, I mean, they're good, they're solid, you heard all the toys falling. So it's,
Reminds me of Lincoln Logs when I was a kid. Do you have any of those?
So we have like this here are the blocks and stuff that I just got these. I just thrifted these. This is like a French whatever. But these are Grimm's toys. 2. That's the Grimm's Rainbow, the semi-circle. Grimm's, yeah. It's like a German company, and it's like well known for like their wooden toys and stuff. Okay. And then there's like a semicircle, so you do like a tower of things. And it's a very open-ended toys is what we try to do, open-ended, so they could use their imagination. We don't do buttons and like flashing things and things that just have one purpose, because I don't know, that blinds me and annoys me too. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know how people put up with these toys or whatever, but yeah, for us it just works. And yeah, I mean, they'll play with things when they go to other places, but I mean, here it's fine.
That's like next level kind of, but not really. Once you do it, it becomes second nature, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. And like I said, I love to thrift, so I've found all of these, pretty much a lot of the stuff through Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, or you know, at the Goodwill or wherever and stuff. And so yeah, right. Hi.
You're a happy baby, aren't you?
See, amor.
No forever chemicals in you.
Yeah, let's try to limit as much as possible. There's really something, but if we can limit it, then why not?
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Why not do it?
Because they are the most important thing. And you could tell they like to put stuff in their mouth, and that gets in their bloodstream.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just think growing up as kids, imagine how much stuff that we had to... Oh, no. I don't know. But it is what it is. Oopsies. I mean, I'm trying to sit you up because this chair is not that sturdy.
Well, thanks for your tour.
Yeah, no problem. It can happen. You can have one too.
Good job.
Thank you.
I wish every mom was able to take the time out and learn this stuff, and hopefully this will help.
Yeah, and it's not like from a judgment, you know, perspective, you know, because I feel like as moms, like they'll say, oh, I'm doing my best, you know, and yeah, of course you're doing your best, but like if you can do a little bit, you know, why not, you know, and like these are easy things. You can find these at Target, you know, the same, you just walk a little bit further and go down to a different section and, you know.
But it's easy to think, well, I had these plastic things as a kid, it didn't hurt me, but you're still young, right? It's hard, and people might be busy and, you know, multitasking and, you know, trying to raise your kid, learn a new trade or whatever, and just make ends meet.
And thankfully other people have done it for you though. Like they've searched things before for you. You know, I remember seeing videos on like these things, you know, and so now I know what to look for. Like, okay, cool. Like the whole Grimm's things, like Grappat, like all these things or whatever. It's like the same thing like vegan thing. You can always find the better alternative, you know, especially nowadays. There's no excuse. And like cost, I know that things, they're so expensive. Secondhand, you know, like just thrift it, or you know, I mean, it's out there. That's one thing I wish that would be more popular, to be re-gifted, or to gift things that are like secondhand. Yeah. I would love like thrifted gifts, you know. Just changing your attitude, and then when you're done with it, you can resell it because it keeps its value. So
what are you making?
Mushrooms and I call it just like a cream sauce, but I add mushrooms or whatever veggies and stuff. Right now I happen to have mushrooms. So
you had like garlic, oil, and some onions.
Yeah, garlic. I love garlic, but in a jar, so it's garlic.
Garlic, that's funny. and then over here.
Pasta. This is like the pasta that I have. And just because I use the same thing, there's some onion in there, but.
And then you're making some
cashew. So I just soak these in some boiling water, and then you just add some lemon, some salt. Baby approved, right? Okay.
So all you need to add is water, salt.
I add nutritional yeast to everything, but yeah, I don't know why they make the tops, because we always go like this.
Oh wow! So that's how you measure it.
That's how you measure it until your ancestors tell you to stop. That's how we roll. Yeah, and then
nice.
Go their spices here. But yeah.
And you're doing all this with the baby right there,
yeah.
right there.
Definitely a mom thing that we have to. This is how we do. I think another mom would.
What was that?
This was garlic powder.
Okay.
So I don't like to follow recipes. So my husband says, your cooking is great, your baking is alright, but everybody loves my baking. So like when I do all the kids' cakes and stuff, so I like to, whenever I want to do something, I'll be like, oh yeah, I have this idea to make such and such. And then
what was that?
This was onion powder.
Okay.
And so then when I do that, and then this is salt. And then when I do that, I just look at like maybe like 2 or 3 recipes, and I'm like, all right, I got an idea of how to make that, and then I just do my own thing, and it works out. And we're still alive, and so
and still enjoying And this is some lime for
Yeah, because I don't have lemon, so we just do limes because I'm a Mexican and we always have limes.
To reiterate, we got cashews, nutritional yeast, garlic powder, onion powder, lime, salt.
Yeah.
And then here we just have oil, onions. You called the garlic. Garlic.
Yeah. So then that should be done.
And then over here we have...
That's why I have to make sure it's al dente. If not, my Italian side will be very offended. Yeah, so no. So if it's white inside, you know, it's not ready yet.
Okay, cool. Is that ready yet?
No, a couple more minutes.
How much veggie broth?
About a cup and a half. Because I did about a cup and a half of cashews. So you just kind of wing it. Everybody loves this. Everybody.
And you did it so fast.
Yeah, it's effortless, honestly. Like, it's one of the easy meals, and people think that, oh, it's so complicated, and it's really not. Yeah.
I've never done this, but I'm totally gonna do this.
Yeah. And then another trick that I have is that if I find like mushrooms, I'll cut them up and I'll freeze them. Spinach, I just have a whole thing of just spinach, you know, like just frozen in my freezer. Zucchini, everything, I cut it up and then I freeze everything. But yeah, always like a thing of baby spinach, I just throw it in there. Yeah, and people are like, oh my God.
Speaking of baby.
Yeah, speaking of baby, yeah. And then I just have, yeah, so.
Awesome.
A little bit of everything. I made quesadillas yesterday with some meat, some soy meat that I got actually at the Mexican store. And they have like ceviche, beef, and chicken. Amore, cierra. Mira. So like at the Mexican store. So yeah.
Oh, cool.
And it's amazing. Yeah, my kid loves it.
She wants some right now. Hey, I like that bib. That fits your whole little body there. What are you getting ready to eat? You like that? Show me. Ah, your camera shy. She's like, you're not supposed to film people when they're eating. Okay, I'll stop. Hey, you're vegan from conception.
I get the other one. She's excited to do this. She wants
cool.
the other people to know.
Nice.
Right?
My name is Lona.
Are you vegan?
Yes,
How long you been vegan?
7 years.
Is that your whole life?
I've been vegan for my whole life.
What do you like about being vegan?
I like not killing animals, and I like being vegan.
What's some of your favorite vegan food?
Corn dogs.
Corn dogs. That's a unique one. Do you know what those are made out of?
Yeah.
What?
Corn
Yeah.
and hot dog.
What's hot dog? Like maybe, is it a plant?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's not a dog, right?
No.
What do you got in your hands there?
Some bottles that have stickers that says vegan, and I have vegan stickers on it.
Cool. Does that help you be an advocate for veganism? Do you think it's healthy to be vegan?
Yes.
Do you think it makes you strong?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Meat doesn't make you strong.
What kind of stuff do you like to do? What are some of your hobbies?
Coloring and reading. I like soccer. My dad likes soccer.
And do you feel like you're happy being vegan?
Yeah.
Do you feel like everybody should be vegan?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's good to be vegan.
For what reasons?
Like, it's not good to kill animals.
How does that make you feel knowing people do that?
Sad.
I hear you like to dance too. Is that something? Is that one of your favorite things to do?
Yeah.
Is there a certain kind of music you like to dance to?
Yeah.
What kind of music?
Like Disney music.
You got a favorite color?
Pink, purple, and sky blue.
And is Stella, your little sister, is she also vegan from birth?
Yes.
Wow, that's cool. Do you think she'll want to come over there and sit next to you for a second?
Yeah.
Oh. Do you two have a lot of fun together?
Yes.
Yeah, what kind of stuff do you like to do together? Uh-oh.
I like playing with her
Uh-huh.
and making her laugh.
How do you make her laugh?
Like doing silly faces.
No, show me.
Like,
I mean, show her, I mean.
Bella, Bella.
That's cute. Hey, can I try that? Let me try that. It doesn't work when I do it because I always look funny, right? Or is there anything you want to tell other people?
That you should be vegan.
Oh, that's a good message to get out there.
And everybody's supposed to be vegan. Nobody should kill animals. And like summer, I want to put up signs that says "Go vegan." Everybody should be vegan.
Ah, where would you do that at?
In like the trees and stuff.
Okay. So you want to make some signs and put them on
Yeah.
trees? Okay. Cool. So you're an advocate, right? Okay. It's so interesting because I interviewed another Luna, the same age as you, that's also vegan from birth.
Oh,
Say, where are you at?
where are you at?
She lives in Colorado. Uh-oh.
What do you say about zoos, baby? Remember what we say about zoos?
Yeah, what do you say about zoos?
It's kind of sad.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it sad because you feel like the animals want to be free?
Yeah.
So tell me, what are some of your favorite foods besides corn dogs?
Carbonara
Okay.
and Hulk pasta.
Whole pasta? Is that
Hulk pasta.
Oh, oh, Hulk.
Hulk.
Yeah. Is that something like you buy or you make?
No, my dad makes it
Do you ever help out in the kitchen?
sometimes.
Yeah. Do you like to make your own food sometimes? Or like, what would be something you would make?
Carbonara.
Oh, some people might not even know what that is. What is it?
It's pasta with vegan just egg.
All right. Anything else you want to share, like you for breakfast, lunch, or dinner that you eat?
I like eating cookies.
Cookies. Everybody likes cookies. And you could totally make vegan cookies delicious, right?
Yeah.
When you go to a friend's house or a party, do you bring your own food sometimes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a cake or a pizza. Have you ever done that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it hard to be vegan?
No.
So are you like inspiring others to do this when you bring your own food? And do they like your food?
Yeah.
So it's not really all that different and maybe better when you bring people food, right?
Yeah.
And then they try something new. And do they try to eat all your food?
No.
What do you do for Halloween?
I go to people's houses and I get candy.
So the next day after Halloween, does somebody come to your house or something?
To the house.
Oh, okay.
What do you do with the candy? Remember we go through the candy and then we see.
Oh, and then we see which one is not vegan.
Okay, so you go through the candy to see which one's not vegan?
And then she brings vegan candy.
Who does?
Who brings vegan candy?
The Switch Witch.
The Switch Witch. Who is that?
It's a witch.
Is it somebody you know?
Yeah.
And they just kind of, like you only see them after Halloween? Who's the Switch Witch?
A witch. My mom told me that she has her phone number.
Yeah. Yeah.
And do you know how to read labels?
That's
Yeah.
weird.
So when you're reading labels, what are you looking for?
Like egg or milk.
So you know how to read that and say, ooh, this is not good.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you do with that stuff?
Put them back.
Good job. Is it hard to put things back? Can you find something better?
Yeah.
What's some of your favorite candies on Halloween?
I like a lot.
So there's plenty to choose from, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay, what about
I like the spicy one.
spicy? Nice. What's a spicy candy?
Like a thing that you like and it squeeze out. Pumpalino.
So it's made out of tamarind?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, those are you can open it if you want. You can show how those work. That's definitely, and that's a Mexican candy.
It's like
Very
this.
traditional Mexican candy.
And then you can open it. Like it comes out, but it's kind of hard.
Oh, okay.
So it's like comes out from these holes right here.
You gotta push it hard, don't you? You gotta be real vegan
Yeah.
strong. Ugh. And what is tamarind?
Something spicy.
Does it need to like be punctured or something?
It likes to go like a C. You have to put
Oh,
it
there, I
down.
see some of it coming out. Now what do you do when it comes out?
You eat it.
Go ahead and try. Is that good? Mm-hmm. All right, tamarind. And it's totally vegan, right? Mm-hmm. I would love to try it, but it looks like you've already... And what about like Christmas? What do you do during Christmas?
Get presents.
And do you
Like I got this tiger.
Okay, let me see. Let me put that camera on that.
This tiger.
Oh, cool. And do you make sure that your presents don't have plastic and stuff like that?
Yeah.
What's wrong with plastic? Is it that it might not be good for the animals because it's hard to like throw away and degrade and
Yeah.
and it's invasive? It's a little complicated, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share?
No.
So we're good?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for doing this because together we make a vegan world. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cierra la puerta. Cierra. Di bye.
Bye-bye.
Cierra. Cierra. Di bye.
Bye-bye.